Today we are living in a very time-poor world. Now, how do you tell a story which will bring enough desire in 10 seconds or 20 seconds? This is the reality. It's not good. It's not sustainable.
Meet Shyam, the marketing leader who helped build the Landmark Group's Centrepoint into a retail powerhouse.
If you keep pushing, then I'm sorry, the customer is going to unsubscribe, or it's just too much of push which is happening right now. And that's, for me, is the single concern when it comes to how marketing campaigns are created today.
Research process, if it was taking around 7 to 10 days in the past, right now I'm able to do it in literally 1 or 2 days. If I use Google Gemini, activate the deep research, it is going to give me a complete summary of what is there in the internet from all the expert articles which have already been there.
If you ask me, how much do you invest in brand and how much would you invest in demand, then broadly the formula is 60-40. There is a fair amount of brand marketing which needs to be done to create enough demand in the market.
These small brands are very agile and they are able to adapt to these digital platforms very faster. They are speaking the language which the consumer is doing rather than $1 billion big companies.
There's a language issue also. The language used in board meetings is very different to the language we marketers use. Much of what we discuss as marketing achievements or metrics and all that is not even understood by board members.
What do you really think is the role of a CMO at today's point?
Let's say ideally the CMO should be
In today's episode of Dare to Begin, I have one of the marketing experts from the Dubai region. I have recently met him in one of the conferences and I personally liked a lot of his insights. And today we have him as a guest, Mr.Shyam Sunder. Welcome to the show. So today I want to go deep into your marketing perspective because I want to know how this industry, this landscape is changing. So curious to know from you.
Thanks, DJ. Thanks for having me around. I'm happy to be here and share whatever wisdom and experience I've kind of gained over the last 3 decades. Yeah, you're right. It's been a long journey and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
So you have seen a lot of marketing in your career, right? Like, and also back in India and also in Dubai, UAE market. So what do you think this industry, where it is going?
So DJ, if you were to ask me what's the one big change which has happened in the last 3 decades, it's really that I think today we are living a fairly big digital lives. You know, like we are actually having all our entire life on devices. So I think that digital life is what has impacted marketing the most. And with that, what then happens is that in the past we used to have very few choices. Decision making was very simple, so today it's not like that. So life was very simple in those days. Today, I would say life is pretty complicated, and it's only because of the choice. You know, the consumer has a lot of choice today, and along with the choice comes the complexity of decision making. So when they say that funnels are not, journeys are not linear anymore, funnels are not as it used to be, then it means that there's a lot of complexity in that decision making. So for when I look at pre-internet and post-internet and now pre-AI, post-AI, kind of we are going through this AI revolution. What my sense is that one is, of course, marketing has to cope with this change. As consumers keep changing, we have to keep abreast and keep changing as the consumer changes. But let's say the life of a marketer is not simple anymore. There's a lot beyond imagination, beyond creativity, beyond insights. There's a lot which is going on in terms of data and tech and now AI. So to sum up, I think it's pretty complex. Having said so, it's challenging and therefore it's exciting. So one can look at it that way also. So that's where things are right now. But I think we just not need to embrace it, but we are living digital lives, and therefore we have to cope with that, and that's going to even increase in the coming years.
So you said the choices are more for the consumers right now. Like earlier, they were probably looking at 2-3 brands, retail brands. We used to go out, we had like limited brands. And now with internet and e-commerce, like now if you go into any website, let's say Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, you have thousands of brands in front of you. With now AI also coming in, I read about AI agents, and now agentic commerce is going to come. The agents are going to purchase on behalf of you. So then there are even more options it's going to compare. And then in fact, you are not going to do the shopping. Your AI partner is going to do the shopping for you, and then you have to just approve. So there's so many things happening, right?
Yeah.
But as a marketer, like let's say somebody working for a brand or from the agency side, what are the key things you think the young marketer should look up to in any brand?
Yeah, so DJ, one thing which when I see young marketers or marketers who are coming into the industry today, they are digitally native. They are fairly tech, savvy. They are they're very comfortable in tech and data and leading this digital lives. So that's their strength. Having said so, the challenge is that they are forced to be very bottom of the funnel focused. You understand? So I think they come with a short-term mindset, or they have to work with a short-term mindset, which is about immediate
Results.
goals and outcomes. Now, when that happens, then they have to take a step back on long-term, basically vision, long-term goals, building a brand. So basically, they're trying to run a sprint instead of a marathon. That's what is happening. Gone are the days when brands used to take decades to build value. There are still if you look at the top 100 brands, almost 40 of them would be brands with a lot of heritage, legacy, built over a long period. But there are so many brands, especially tech brands, which have just come out of nowhere, and then it's been kind of an overnight success stories. So for marketers, today's marketers, what is missing is that the long-term kind of mindset. But that also is influenced by what the business and leadership is demanding.
Right.
So one needs to keep that in mind. At the end of the day, marketers can only deliver what is needed by the business. So if the business is constantly looking at quarterly goals, and then therefore the marketers also needs to then play that game. So but it doesn't it's not good, because when you're too much bottom of funnel focus, then you will somewhere not just stumble, you struggle to convert if there is not enough top of funnel investments or focus. So basically, the brand and demand needs to go together. That's what I'm trying to say. So right now, it's all about demand and performance marketing. There's very little marketers are able to influence or convince or get enough budgets for building the brand. So and both feeds each other. So but that's where the challenge is today. I feel that most of the marketers today they're playing to their strengths for sure, but it's not good for the business. Most of them are running at a pace where they will stumble and fall sooner or later if you're just only short-term focused.
So do you think that is also like one of the major pain points right now? Because a lot of people are focusing towards that short-term goal. As you said, like, okay, this quarter I want to achieve X number of sales, so that I quickly do like a performance campaign, putting all my budgets in Amazon ads or Meta ads. But on a long run, like let's say we know some legacy brands that we have in our minds, like let's say Fevicol ads. I still remember because it's still iconic, and people know this brand because of certain brand campaigns they have done in the past.
Yeah.
But today it is that it's like that dopamine hit. Like you get it like for the next 30 days, like you will even forget the brand because there is some other campaign doing something else very interesting.
Yeah.
So this being like a larger pain point, like how do you think the marketers should look at taking this ahead? So because in the sense how they should be planning their marketing campaigns, like should they be worried about, okay, now instead of a normal film spending a lot of money, let me try out an AI based film because today something new has come in. Though the storytelling is going to remain constant, what do you think the marketers look like? Because today, on a Monday morning, if somebody is going
Yeah.
to the office, in the weekend only there were like 4 or 5 updates from top tech brands on how you approach your marketing tools.
Yeah.
So how do you see this?
Yeah. So I think, DJ, a lot of chatter is on execution. Okay. But that's not good. There's very little discussion or debate on strategy. So everything is on execution, and that is not good for any business. See, at the end of the day, you need to be, if your strategy is very strong, then the execution will follow and will be done in the right manner to give you the right results. So the challenge is that a lot of what marketing does today is kind of push marketing, which is really that you want to push out notifications, you want to push out messages, you want to push out emails, and of course ads also. You're kind of forcing the customer to act, So and then what is being sacrificed is that does the brand has enough differentiation to compete? Number two, is there enough desire for the brand? Number three is that are you telling a story which is compelling enough to go from awareness to intent to action? So my concern is that there's just not enough focus on strategy. There's a lot of focus on execution, and that's why AI comes in. At the end of the day, AI is helping us execute actually quite well. There's a lot of efficiency in time. There's efficiency in cost. There is fresh. There's a lot of research now which is possible through AI. For me, the human mind or the human impact will be there only if there is enough focus on strategy, enough focus on insights, on, let's say, consumer behavior. So these aspects are important. That comes through a human. When the human absorbs this kind of information, looks out for this kind of information or inspiration, that's where the mind starts thinking strategically, and then let's say the big ideas will come out.
Right.
Today, what I'm also seeing is there's a lot of small ideas. Lots of tactics is where the game is being played. There's not enough focus on how do you create desire. Basically, it's everything is moved from pull to push,
Right.
and that's not good for a brand. If you keep pushing, then I'm sorry, the customer is going to unsubscribe or going to you're going to spam the customer for it's just too much of push which is happening right now, and that's for me is the single concern when it comes to how marketing campaigns are created today.
Right.
So therefore, what marketers must do, and it's not easy. Even today, I struggle in certain businesses to balance this brand and demand.
Right.
But one needs to balance it. Otherwise, the bottom funnel actions will not kind of deliver
Right.
enough return on investment. So that balance needs to be, and you should have. Firstly, you have to be very convinced about this, and then you should have the conviction and influencing power to be able to balance this better. So that's where things are today.
Yeah, I can totally believe when you say that with AI, our execution is getting better. I think exactly that's where I also feel marketers can, instead of like compartmentalizing yourself in only doing things, you spend a lot of time in strategizing and thinking,
Yes.
talking to your consumer, understanding more what their needs are.
Yeah.
and leave the execution part to AI. Because I'll just give you an example on like how things got changed in at least within our office, like how we are used to do the research. Because usually whenever we are researching about a brand or a campaign, when we want to do something, we take enough time in like researching over internet, talking to consumers. Like let's say when I say talking to consumer, probably we will speak to 10 people, 5 people who are the current consumers or a similar consumer, and then like we try to get some insights, and we will work on things. This entire research process, if it was taking around 7 to 10 days in the past, right now I'm able to do it in literally 1 or 2 days, because AI is providing so much of permutations and combination, and it is giving me data of all the past data from the internet with just one click. If I use Google Gemini and activate the deep research tool in that, and then I ask it, it is going to give me a complete summary of what is there in the internet from all the expert articles which have already been there. So this kind of reduces the time of my research. So now my strategists are like spending more time in terms of how creatively I can present it or how creatively I can execute it. Now, what kind of discussions are happening with the senior management and the board members? Like, what are they really concerned about? Like, are they influencing on because right now what I see is, because of the influence of AI, the expectation and the overall output generation is also like people are demanding more, like demanding more work, faster work. So how do you see it? Like how the current conversations are, like how the budgets are being allocated? Because I usually see marketing is something people keep it at the last, because everyone wants sales, but they don't want to invest in marketing, or especially in brand marketing. As you said, like now a lot of traction is there on performance marketing, and then they want to clearly calculate what is the return on ad spends. So how is it happening in the bigger level, like when you're discussing with your leadership?
So the leadership, at the highest level are not too concerned about how we are getting things done. So how much are we using AI? What kind of tools are we using? They're not really concerned. They're concerned with the output, obviously. Right. It's the CMO who needs to make sure that there's enough brand versus demand. It's the CMO who says that how much of human is needed with tech. So that balancing is always how much of long term versus short term. So one thing for sure, that headcount has definitely been stagnant for marketing. So if you go and ask for more people today, or you want to kind of expand your team, there is going to be a resistance. So the leadership knows that much, that we can get more work, or more work done with the same amount of humans than before. Right. So there we have been able to cope and manage the extra workload we have got, simply because my team is using AI on a daily basis. We don't need a writer today. We don't need to do proper research. We can get research done quite quickly, as you said. There's a lot of content which can be written, which is being written through tools. But much of AI for us in our industry right now is helping mundane jobs which are already templatized kind of jobs. If you want to create something fresh, if you want something which is very brand centric, which uses your brand guidelines and all that, then you need to create it with a human, on a Mac. So in terms of design, it's not helped us much, because we are very much templatized. In terms of writing, yes. In terms of long and short form writing, it is helping us a lot. For me, that is also kind of unfortunate consequence, because the value we used to have for copywriters is now completely it's diminished, or diminished, because everyone is under pressure to kind of come up with a headline or a slogan or a tagline, whatever you need. So the human, the creativity which we used to get through copywriters, and copywriters was it's the most important part of a creative team. that is slowly becoming kind of an issue. They don't even exist in terms of the new copywriters coming to industry
Right.
may not even take place. We may live in a time when we not, is completely any ad is written by a AI tool. That's unfortunate, because I have seen in my time, great writers are the ones who create and craft great campaigns. So that for me means that creativity is being democratized, in the sense a marketing person sitting in any part of the world is going through is kind of accessing the same tools and getting similar solutions, so to someone who's sitting in another part of the world. So which means that we are going to see less and less of big ideas, really breakthrough work, path breaking work, and more of the same kind of sameness is coming across. So it's going to be a big challenge to create a real voice for your brand in all the noise, and that is going to be an issue with these changes.
Right. So, since you said that it's becoming like a challenge, and you said about copywriting, a lot of it, the mundane activities being replaced, designs being templatized, because even before, I mean, with the advent of Canva, I saw like everybody is becoming, have the potential to at least give a decent design. You don't need anymore anybody support to make like a decent presentation, which was not the case even 5-10 years back, right? And so many other things, like let's say there are large research agencies which is going to charge millions of dollars for some sort of a report. Now you have it one click away in some sort of rule, though it is not 100% there, probably 80-70% you already have it, probably by spending less than $10, right? So now with this kind of a scenario, what do you think is something which a marketer is irreplaceable with? Like, okay, now in place of let's say a good copywriter, I still believe will use this ChatGPT or any kind of this tool to come up with multiple variations, multiple scenarios. If you are able to write, I just see, it's based out of my understanding, a good copywriter, like people who are not mediocre, they are leveraging these tools to do things even better. People who are like bad and doing mundane tasks every day are very clearly replaced.
True.
The best ones are being empowered more. The mediocre ones are totally being replaced. So considering this shift happening, what kind of skills somebody in a college right now studying a MBA in marketing or anybody who wants to get into this industry, because people in the industry who are doing well are kind of figuring out, some people are like in a panic stage, but especially students and youngsters who are right now in college, but if you see the college level education is still the same, so they are panicking about the situation. What do you want to tell people like that? What is something they have to develop in order to not get replaced?
So for me, the best marketeers in the world are those who come with good strategic, marketing thinking capabilities. So if you if you do your masters in, if you do your MBA in business administration, you do an MBA in marketing, then what you would then do is to learn the ropes of brand management. You have to, and that means strategic marketing. When you get the fundamentals of brand management and strategic marketing right, then it's easier then to learn the other part of the marketing, which is about performance and digital and platforms and kind of the demand, the performance marketing. So when you in college itself, you need to say that there is only one time in my life I want to learn the fundamentals of brand management. I think that's very important. You can't, if you skip that and straight go into digital marketing skills and digital marketing courses, and then you kind of certify yourself as a digital marketer, then you're skipping that. You're going to miss that out. Even in terms of growth for a marketer, you will get stuck in execution and you'll get stuck in your career if you're only going to be focused on digital marketing and kind of performance marketing. The marketeers who grow are the ones who are able to think beyond execution, who have the capability to think strategically, who understands research, who understands consumer insights, consumer behavior. So, and then of course the entire the planning of the marketing, planning, budgeting, and then setting up systems and tools for measuring the outcomes. So it's a kind of a full stack kind of requirement. Having said so, the much of the marketing talent which is coming into the industry is again very performance driven kind of skills. They lack maybe see there is growth there as well. You as you kind of execute better, as you deliver better efficiencies, better ROAS, you can grow there. But at the top, organizations demand a good mix of strategic thinking as much as kind of performance marketing skills. So this is very important for young marketers who come into the industry. They need to learn. When there's an opportunity to kind of qualify yourself, then you need to finish that and then get into
Exactly.
So that's very important.
Yeah, I also resonate with what you are exactly saying, because I studied about this particular aspect of performance marketing, because a lot of people right now spending so much of time learning the tool. Okay, how do I start a
Yeah.
campaign? How do I run a campaign? How do I select a creative? How do I select target group? So
Yeah.
so as per the research, like in next 1 to 2 years, the complete Meta and Google ads are going to be completely automated, which means just like ChatGPT, you just go into Meta ads, you will be typing, hey, I want to run an ad in Dubai focusing on an youngster.
And it will
You just
create-
type, it's going to create
It's
not
gonna
just the
create-
campaign, but
yeah.
also the creatives.
Yeah.
So the entire part of performance marketing, of course, like there, the differentiation would be how creatively you are giving the insights, how creatively you're doing it. So the entire technical skill driven part of performance marketing more or less is going to be automated. The strategy is going to be the key at that point in time.
I think a lot of focus is today on pushing it out, broadcast, or pushing, or putting the dollar behind the creative. How good the creative itself is an issue. Sometimes
Right.
what happens is you start spending money and then these creatives don't work.
Right.
And then even you do A/B testing, you kind of test, and then you kind of start spending the dollar, and then you say, oh my god, there's no traction, the response is not great. And then you go back and say, was there something wrong with the creative? So keeping aside that the product is good and it's priced, the fundamentals of price and product, we'll keep that aside. Let's say that we have a great product at a great price. And then what happens is, how are you communicating that in the most creative manner? And that's where a lot of time should be spent. A lot of human talent should be spent on how can we break the clutter? There's so much of noise. How do we kind of make sure that we stand out? And then there's the next challenge, which is that you have to tell your story today in a 10 seconds or 20 seconds. So that becomes another challenge, because we used to live in a very in a time when people had a lot of time, and today we're living in a very time poor world.
Yes.
So everyone wants to quickly kind of, the thumb is
Yeah.
now kind of making sure that I think we are all wired now for that. Even when I look at content, let's say on Instagram, sometimes I feel, oh my god, this is going on and on.
Yeah.
I just want it to end fast. So this is the reality.
True.
We can't help it. Now, how do you tell a story which stands out, or which will bring enough desire and action in 10 seconds or 20 seconds? That's where the challenge is. It's a good challenge, but then it's not good. It's not sustainable.
So now with these small brands are very agile and they are able to adapt to this digital platforms very faster. They are speaking the language which the consumer is doing rather than a $1 billion big companies. So this difference, how do you see it? Do you think that's also because in boardrooms marketing is not taken very seriously? So I want to get your entire perspective. Why smaller brands are able to try out fast, larger brands are not able to?
There are issues with large organizations on how quickly they can move to market and how quickly they kind of respond. But I don't think, at least in my personal experience, I don't see like that as much of an issue. I think marketing teams have been able to kind of quickly move even in large organizations. I don't see that a small brand with very few decision makers will always move faster. That you can't But I would say that today large organizations, large big brands are also moving quite fast. They need to move fast but very consciously,
Yes,
like they
true.
need to be very careful because there is a heritage, there is a legacy, there is reputation at stake. So but I think today the marketing is moving at such a speed that a marketer in a large or a small organization, I think they're moving as they understand the value of speed. So I don't think there's much of a challenge there between large and small organizations. On your second question on boardrooms, yeah, I recently wrote an article on that, and in my own career, I have attended a few board meetings where I have been brought in to kind of share some success story or something which is exceptionally good, which has changed the fortunes of the company in so having said so, I really haven't seen CMOs as a part of the board. They're not. They don't have a voice, or they're not represented at the board level. Um, Much of it is because of the practice of having, let's say, CFOs, and let's say we have representatives from finance and legal. At times, HR, obviously the CEO. They are the ones who are largely representing the board, and also the focus of board meetings is about on outcomes. What is discussed. I've seen board presentations. It's mostly of what we have achieved, and therefore it's all numbers, and it's kind of performance kind of slides on performance, which is compared over a period of time. So in these discussions where the focus is on profitability, and what are the short-term actions to be taken to improve the business in certain markets. So I think much of what is being discussed is also very short-term. Now, in that whole conversation, how would marketing, where would marketing kind of fit in? Firstly, marketing functions itself is perceived as a cost center,
Right.
as a kind of, we need them, we can't do without them. So it's kind of necessary evil in many companies. In marketing driven companies, it's not. Marketing is, there's a lot of value to marketing. In fact, business on a weekend to weekend would go up and down based on what marketing effort has been put,
Right.
so a lot of businesses are marketing driven, and there it's fine. Maybe a case will be taken on in a board meeting, or even if the market is not there, then the CEO would say that we did this, which created a lot of it made a lot of good impact, positive impact on the business. The real reason why marketing is not in board meetings is because we have not been able to demonstrate big impact on the business. If you, let's say, you spend a few $100,000 on a campaign, has that campaign really been able to move the needle? Has it made enough impact? If it is just about done something which is not substantial, then it's not even worth
Right.
a boardroom discussion. The second challenge is that you know, some of the impact we claim to make in marketing is not is kind of argued, is not attributed to marketing.
Right.
It's something else which happened in the market. Maybe a competitor moved in the wrong manner, or your sales would have done something which it's not completely marketing attributed, but sales also had a role in it, or a pricing impact
Change,
was the change was there, so that's why we got a bump in sales. So with paid marketing, there is the attribution models are pretty robust, but in offline marketing, for example, let's say you run an amazing PR campaign, which kind of has shifted perception, or let's say created a certain image for the brand that really cannot be measured, because it's something to do with human behavior, which will translate to outcomes over a period of time. So a lot of marketing cannot be measured directly to sale. And that's where the second challenge is that, listen, what is there for marketing function to have done, which earns their place at a board level. But then we are coming back to the same issue. The issue is also that we at least a lot of marketers are not strategically strong thinkers. They are more of doers than thinkers. And that's where the challenge will be, that does this person who would sit in a board meeting, will that person be able to add enough value, contribute enough to discuss on topics which can lead to growth in business, and finally, is there a big idea which will make a big impact? So a combination of all these three reasons are why marketers are absent in at the board.
Right.
There's also there's a language issue also. The language used in board meetings is very different to the language we marketers use. So much of what we discuss as marketing achievements or metrics and all that is not even understood by board members.
Right.
And some of the concepts, or some of the terminologies used in the board meeting is not understood by marketers,
Right.
because they lack the business kind of knowledge to understand that. So I don't see this. I really don't see this happening in at least in the short term. I really don't see marketers being a part of the board. I really don't see their
But you
place
want
at the board.
so you want them, like, let's say you are saying there is one empty chair where a marketer should be sitting and actually telling them the importance and how it should be driven in the
I think
boardrooms.
the other point is that let's say, what would really make a marketer be eligible to sit on in a board discussion, or a board of directors discussion, is that, is the marketer really a champion of the customer? Will the marketer be the voice of the customer in the organization? Is the marketer really the voice of the customer? If it is not, then that is an issue.
Right.
Like, let's look at the 4 or 5, 6 people around the board of directors table. None of them really are custodians, or none of them are really the voice of the customer.
Right.
And that's where the opportunity for marketers are.
True.
If you really understand your customer, deep knowledge, if you have observed the customer behavior, if you know how customers respond and what are the triggers, what are the barriers which can lead the customer to your brand, if you really understand that psychology of consumer behavior, and if you really know your customer well, then actually you have great opportunity to represent the voice of the customer at at a board meeting.
True.
And that is also missing. I'm not saying that it is not there. I've seen some great marketeers who have such great insights and knowledge and information to share with the board when they discuss a certain challenge which we are facing
Right.
in a certain market maybe. But then that for me is the deal breaker.
Right.
Are you really a voice of the customer?
Right.
And if that is not there, then what are we? What is that we are going to do in board meetings? Really, there's nothing. You can't be talking about campaigns and tactics, and we did no. It doesn't matter at all. When you see when the board sees sales graph, they need to see a bump which has been impacted by marketing. That is really not happening enough. And that's where the challenge is.
I can totally get it, because in so many different discussions, marketing is always the last thing to be considered. In lot of organizations, marketing becomes like a expense. But the smarter companies which understands marketing is always seen as an investment, where they kind of drive, everything is revolving around marketing. But the companies which are very sales driven, I'm not, and these are very big companies, and these are companies which actually reach the end customer through their sales strategy, distribution strategy, and all the other things apart from marketing. But those are great brands, but marketing is always given that last place to even take a suggestion. But when I look at such kind of organizations, or when we get to work with such kind of organization, one thing that comes to my mind is, if this particular component of marketing is kept in the center of discussion, you can grow probably 10x. You are missing that one step away from making your brand really bigger. So that's one thing which I personally felt when I was working with a lot of companies. And secondly, as you rightly said, marketers also kind of miss out speaking the business language, which usually means a lot in a board meeting or in any kind of a discussion, right? Because they are not going to worry about CPMs, they are not going to worry about ROS. It's technically how much of money we made, how much of sales we made. That's exactly what every business owner or a board member wants it, right? So as you rightly said, marketers also need to represent that customer. Because I saw in one of the interviews where Jeff Bezos said that in every board meeting of theirs, there will be an empty chair. And Jeff Bezos says that is a representative of a customer. Like that's a customer of Amazon sitting in every boardroom discussion, because we always want to not miss out the voice of the customer, because maybe if marketers are updating, they can become the voice of a customer and represent the requirements.
Very true. Very, very true. So we see whether we are in a board meeting or we are not. That's not what is important. What's important is that does marketing have the opportunity to create enough impact in the business, whether it's short term or whether it's long term. Are we coming up with the big ideas which can create the big impact? That's where the core is. Amongst let's face it, we have to be as strong in our right brain as much as the left brain.
Right.
In fact, there are marketers stronger in the right brain, and therefore they're always bursting with ideas, and they're always going to be bursting with creativity, ideas, and imagination. There are marketers who are very data driven, very process driven, and that's good. If you have both in let's say if you have talent in your team which has got a kind of balance of both, it's great. But from a CMO perspective, you need both.
Right.
So what is missing is that there the imagination, the creativity, and the opportunity to come up with the big ideas. That's where it all starts really. Before the dollar is spent on when I sometimes when we kind of discuss certain challenges in the business, like let's say for example, attrition. Okay, so we have some data to say that there is high attrition in a business, and then there are reasons given for the attrition. When I look at that data, I am thinking from a brand perspective. Uh, Attrition can be attributed to the brand not being not having delivered its
Okay.
promise. Attrition can be attributed to the brand not being desirable enough to work. The company is not desirable enough to work in. Attrition can also happen when the company you're working for is really not kind of seen as a cool brand. You
Right,
understand? So
right.
there are a lot of soft factors around the brand which can lead to attrition.
Right.
So many of the problems of any business can be solved with great marketing, great branding. That's my take on it. That marketing can solve almost every problem. Yes, if there is an issue with your product and your pricing and your distribution, then there's not much marketing can do. Those are fundamentals.
Yeah.
Those are things your tech has to has to be good. Your product has to be good. But if all that is
Yeah,
good to
in
go,
place.
is good, then it's marketing which kind of drives differentiation.
True.
And that is what is missing today. True differentiation is missing for you to grow. So I think there's a big opportunity for marketers to come forth and bring in that differentiation in businesses.
So considering like this differentiation is what mainly the marketers has to bring on to the table. What do you really think is the role of a CMO at today's point?
Let's say ideally the CMO should be, like I keep saying, he has to be strong in strategy as much as he should know how to execute the strategy. He needs to be a hands-on guy in terms of he needs to understand what it takes to build a great strategy and get it executed at the most efficient in the most efficient way. If he is strong on that, if he's fundamentally strong on that, if he's got enough experience in that, then it's easy for him to kind of manage a team which can get it done. But essentially, the team is also looking up to the CMO to give direction, to make sure that the strategy is. Firstly, the CMO has got a role to make sure there's a sell-in of the strategy. So when you come into a company and then you understand the consumer, the business, the brand, and all that, and then you kind of create the strategy for marketing, then the first responsibility of CMO is to make sure that there is a strong buy-in from the leadership. Okay, so there needs to be a lot of passion, a lot of conviction when he takes that for a kind of a approval. Along with that comes also the the strong rationale to invest in marketing. How much of budget is needed, to make the impact? Because the CMO is constantly under pressure to deliver results. But how much budget do we need to deliver the results? And that also means what quality of talent do you need to deliver those results?
True.
In highly competitive markets, in highly competitive sectors, this becomes a big challenge.
Right.
Do you have enough resources, both in terms of money and in terms of talent? Do you have enough resources to deliver to expectations? That is and that is entirely in the CMO's hands. He
Right.
cannot delegate that. The good quality of a CMO is to have that influencing power to get this done.
Right.
It's entirely a responsibility to make sure that there is a strong buy-in on strategy. There's a strong buy-in on the budget, and of course align on outcomes. Okay, so you have to meet, manage expectations of outcomes as well. is it going to take 3 months, or is it going to be 6 months, or is it going to take a year to achieve certain goals? He has to be very sure about that, So, and that's where his experience and his wisdom comes into play.
Right.
For me, that's the starting point. Apart from that, it's always about setting some very high benchmark, very high standards for what your brand should be doing, in terms of actions. If you set very high standards, and if you are extremely, let's say, you don't have you have uncompromising kind of a approach to that, then your work will stand out. This is my personal kind of experience, that I have stood very strong on what I believe will work for a business, and then it's my job to get that buy-in and execute it to the budgets I need, the resources I need. So we have to fight for talent, you have to fight for budgets, and you have to kind of, it's a constant battle, but that's the exciting part of marketing,
Right.
to be able to create something out of nothing.
Right.
That's what we are doing. No, we come into an organization, and then let's say it's a startup and there's nothing, and then you start creating, you start growing the business, and that's what is fulfilling about marketing. We have the opportunity to do that.
Right.
So for me, the right balance of strategy and execution, to really understand what is needed for the brand to succeed,
Right.
to fight at, like really you got to fight for what you believe is right for the business, with a no compromise kind of approach.
Right.
And then allow the team to then start building the expertise and executing it to your high standards.
Right.
These things, these qualities are more than enough for a CMO today to succeed. It is becoming a challenge. The CMO's role, it's in fact it's one of those roles which are the most challenging role
Right.
at a C level, is the CMO role. But one needs to kind of deliver to the expectation. There's no other way around it.
So you mentioned about talent, right? Like, because you also, it's not just about you fighting for the budget. You need a right team to do that execution. So what is your way of choosing the right talent? Like, what do you actually look up to in a talent? Let it be like, right, since I am from, I'm quite sure you are also from the agency background initially,
Yes.
and then you have worked with a lot of agencies.
Yeah.
So I want to know what kind of talent you look for, both in-house or in even an agency. So how do you see? And with the advent of AI, a lot of talking is around that brands are going to internalize everything,
Yeah.
and they don't want an
Yeah.
agency anymore. So what is your perspective on it, and what do you look up to the talent, be it internal or external?
So I'm a big champion of outsourcing.
Okay.
Okay. I've always been a big champion of outsourcing. I do not think insourcing can produce anything great when it comes to marketing. A lot of functions of marketing actually, let's say the data analytics part, let's say the CRM, there's a lot which can be insourced. The talent is fine. In terms of digital marketing also, to a large extent, the execution can be insourced. But what I would really want to outsource, which cannot be insourced, is the creativity part. The best creative minds in the business rarely work inside corporates, okay, on the client side. They
Right.
rarely work there. It's too mundane. It's not exciting for them to work on the same category every day. That's not, that really doesn't keep them, kind of motivated and energized. Creative people need to work on different, categories and brands, and that's where it becomes very exciting for them. Now, there is a big move towards insourcing. There is, with AI, that is even getting
Doable,
is more. Yeah, why do you need someone outside? You can get all things done inside. Just get someone to learn the tools and prompt them. So For me, it's always is a compromise. It's a compromise. When you have an in-house team, then you're only going to kind of make excuses for saying that, okay, this is good work, and because it's already insourced, so you have to kind of justify that, which is not a good thing to do. The second is, where are you challenging them? Where is the when you're insourced, then how do you even, you don't even have a competitive spirit inside the team, because they know there is no option, but they have to do with what I can do for them. So that's the attitude of insourced talent. So when it comes to creative, definitely it has to be outsourced. If you just look at, if you take the top 100 brands in the world, almost, let's say, I would say almost 60 of them would work are working with great agencies. Let's say the top 25 agencies, okay, whether network or independent agencies, but they're all working with. So most brands who are doing great work, making, marketers who are making a big impact, have outsourced,
Right.
and that's why is that? If you look at all these brands, they spend millions of dollars on marketing. So it's not that they haven't thought through this, but they truly believe that creativity can come only from creative leaders who are working in advertising agencies, creative agencies. So I'm very convinced, that that's the best way forward. If you want great work, and if you want to create, big impact, and if your standards are very high, suppose you're managing a brand which has come already is got 100 years in the market, and you just can't risk, diluting anything which has built that brand,
Right.
painstakingly built the brand, then you just cannot. In fact, I would say that you have to be consistent also with the partner. You see, great brands have worked with partners over a period of time.
Right.
They haven't changed agencies, so that is another.
It's a very long-term partnership.
It's
that
a
is
long-term
built.
partnership, and although the agencies, these agencies have evolved, people have come and gone, but the basic values of that agency is still very strong.
True.
That's my take on this topic. I'm quite against insourcing creative, but on the data side, on the performance side, digital side, there's absolutely no this thing of, there's no issue. You can insource
But
that
what are
talent.
those skills, like, let's say, I mean, not just agency, in any talent which you look for, like, let's say, especially in a senior level? I mean, of course, the technical things are given, like, the basics is always given. Apart from that, what makes a great leader in a team, or like anybody whom you hire as your subordinate, or somebody who takes care of a particular domain? What is that skill which you look for?
I think across anything you do in marketing, what is important is, at the end of the day, it's all about passion. So if you love what you do, and you're in marketing because you absolutely love the profession, then that makes a big difference in so that's the soft skill I always look for. Are you in this industry because you love it, or you're in the industry because you just want to
Want a job? Obviously.
job, or you want to just earn, go home? No. For me, that is important. That
Passion.
spark and that passion is very important. If you're surrounded by people who share the same passion, because this passion then leads to what? It leads to a no compromise, a behavior which is saying that I will not tolerate mediocrity. I will always come to work to do something which I have not done before. This is the thing, I would want to break a ground. I would want to innovate. I would want to kind of blaze trial. So all I'm saying is that once you're passionate, and you're coming to work to truly create great work and create that magic and make an impact, then the rest of it is the hard skills doesn't really matter. So for me, that passion and that attitude to work is extremely important.
Amazing. So I've got like very unique perspective on this entire marketing domain. Just considering you are from India and like you have worked in
Yeah.
both Indian market and right now from UAE across the globe, like you are trying to interact with marketers across the industries across the globe. So how do you see both this market supporting each other, like because a lot of Asian crowd is there even in UAE? It's predominantly, it looks like yet another the next level developed Indian city according to me, because I see every business leader or everything around us being driven by an Indian here at UAE. So considering your experience in both the markets, I want to know what each market can learn from each other. So what do you see in your career?
So, DJ, it's not true anymore that Indians or Asians are dominating, the UAE marketing or advertising kind of industry. We have had a fair amount of talent from the region itself. Coming up the ranks, a lot of the marketing leaders today are from the region. When I say the region, it means the entire Middle East,
Right.
region. So that has changed a lot. In the last 10 years, there's been a huge influx of Europeans and largely Europeans, both from UK and from parts of Europe, who love what Dubai is, UAE is promising as a place to live.
Right.
And that's something India should realize, that people come here not for just,
Not just as tourists.
not as just tourists, but also not to save just, there's no income tax. Those are not the
Yeah,
factors.
true.
Today, people come here because they think they can have a better quality of life.
True.
Let's say there is better work-life balance in the UAE. The culture of a lot of these people who are working in marketing, coming from different parts of the world, lead to a certain discipline, drawing the line in terms of balancing work and life. So that is something UAE is able to offer. Also, the proximity to to global markets. There's a lot of exposure also, which we kind of we are the UAE is also now the hub of both tech and AI. It's becoming a big hub for tech and AI. There's a huge amount of investment. There's a lot of talent coming in. It's easy to now find work and get a visa, and then kind of look at UA as a long-term, living goal. So these are the good things which are happening. I think I think there's good world-class work which is now happening in the last at least 6-7 years. The amount of Cannes lines we are winning, the recognition, the work from the region is becoming even is better by the day. There's a lot of quick kind of embracing of tech and AI. So really, UAE is moving quickly forward with the rest of the world. India, pre-COVID, India was far ahead of UAE, but post-COVID, things have changed. Where UAE is kind of risen up, or kind of moving very fast. So what I like about Indian marketing or whatever advertising scene in India is that there's a lot of emotion which comes to play in Indian advertising.
Right.
There is a lot of human truth and very grounded kind of work which comes from India even now. I must say, much of Indian advertising or marketing is quite entertaining also. You would want to watch some of those ads again and again, which may not be true elsewhere. So and that's where the Indian industry has really done exceptionally well in terms of coming up with human insights and coming up with ideas which also makes marketing more entertaining, which is very important today. In the short form, in today's platforms, you want to be entertained while you're getting inspired.
Right.
So that's I think the India is still ahead in that game. But having said so, both in terms of, let's say, tech and AI, I would say both markets are really matching each other in terms of talent and capability. But for talent to come to India or talent to come to UAE, what really will matter is the quality of life. People are seeking a certain quality of life. People are seeking security, safety, good education, good healthcare, which India will always be ahead. But UAE is also moving very fast on
Yes,
that.
true.
We have some of the best universities. We have some of the best medical facilities here as well. So I think it's a great corridor.
Right.
There is going to be a flow of talent both ways. A lot of Indians are still coming here. But the reverse also needs to happen. People need to look at India as a great place to go and work. In terms of work, there's a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction in India, because the quality of the professionalism and the quality of work is extremely high, simply because it's very competitive market. It's a very diverse market. The challenges are very different to a small market like UAE. But in terms of quality of life, are you earning enough? Are you able to save enough? That's where UAE scores over India. So that's where things are. Yeah.
Amazing. So I got like a wide range of insight. I'm quite sure our viewers also would have got this perspective. Personally, thank you so much for spending your valuable time here, sharing your decades of experience to our viewers. I'm quite sure there are a lot of takeaways from this particular conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, DJ. Thank you so much.